Okay, in this video I'm going to talk quickly about odd and even functions, and that would be our introduction to Fourier series because, well, odd and even functions are really important when solving Fourier series and trying to find the coefficients. So yeah, let's start with even function. It's also called the cosine function. So just by looking at this graph here, you would notice that in a cosine or even function, how to know if it's even or odd, what you do is basically you look at the graph, and pretend that, just imagine that you fold this graph, you fold it like this. Would it come together? If it's the same when you fold it, then it's even function. So yeah, it's like a mirror basically, from the y-axis. But if you look at odd functions, it's not quite the same. Or the sine function, what you do when you fold it together on the y-axis, this would become here, not here. So it's not actually the same. So to know odd function, just by rotating it, if you rotate it 180 degrees and it still looks the same, then that's an odd or sine function. That's just a quick way of like a shortcut knowing how to determine odd and even functions from the graphs. But if you don't have a graph, well, if you look at the equation of it, the function of it, the value of the function, that's what even function, yeah. Well, even function says if you've got f of x and it's even function, that means that f of minus x is the same. Well, if you want to put that in practice, we can just use an example here. So pretend that f of x equals to x squared. So if f of x equals to x squared, right? So if that is an even function, then if we applied this condition, then it would be the same, basically. Let's test this. So let's pretend that f of minus x then equals to what? Well, let's see. Well, f of x is x squared, so f of minus x is going to be f of minus x squared. Well, we know that anything squared, whether it's positive or negative, it's going to be positive. So that means that it's going to be x squared. And x squared is actually equals to the f of x. So that means that this is correct. Actually, this means that f of x equals to f of minus x in the condition of even function, or as some people call it, cosine function. Alright, now let's try the odd function. Odd function says that if you've got f of minus x, then if it's an odd function, then that means that would equal to minus f of x. Well, let's try this out by using an example just to clear things up and not use like ambiguous and vague terms. So suppose that we have let's try this here, f of x equals to x to the power 3, right? So if we wanted to put an f of minus x, then that means that f of minus x is equal to minus x all squared. Well, if we factorize this, we will get minus x to the power 3, and that is exactly equals to minus function of x, because if you look at it, yeah, we've got f of x equals to x to the power 3. So minus f of x, basically, without looking at that, we will notice that it's actually minus x to the power 3, and that's exactly what happened here. Minus x to the power 3 is equal to minus f of x. So the difference between odd and even functions in that perspective is that for even functions, yeah, For even functions, if we the function, if we times it with -1 inside the function, that wouldn't change it. It would still be the same. However, for odd function, it would change the sign of it. It's going to be negative. So yeah, that was basically the differences between the odd and even functions in terms of graphs and notations and mathematical expressions.